Concussions are an issue that permeate throughout the competitive sports landscape today. No professional league has been more affected by the impact of concussion studies than the National Football League. Inherently, football is a violent sport, where collisions amongst 300-pound men occur on each and every play of the game. Naturally, the general population has grown concerned with the effects the game of football leaves on its participants. Multiple studies and lawsuits have further opened Pandora's box to explore how football is going to adapt to this growing concern and govern through its various league incarnations in the future.
I mean, he got raw. That was an easy one to make. You see him right there. He lowers the helmet, comes in with the crown.
He had a $50,000 fine, which got reduced to $25,000 after he appealed. He's going to get another one.
Deserved.
I mean, they make it pretty simple.
And I have a very, very difficult decision to make tonight.
Judge Cruz is a concerned citizen who also wields the power of the law. She's a young, upstart judge who serves on the Superior Court for San Diego County. Any appeal of her case would begin with the state of California's 4th District Court of Appeals. Recently, a case has come before Judge Cruz involving a young football player named Derek.
Hi, my name's Derek. I'm a concussed football ex-college athlete.
That poses a bunch of new questions for legal interpretation in regards to concussions in football. After the case crossed Judge Cruz's desk, she sat down with Derek for a pre-trial hearing where they discussed his injuries and different hypotheticals about concussions in football pertaining to his case.
Derek, it sounds like life is really different for you now after your accident.
I would say so.
And I don't know, a couple questions for you after I've been thinking about this. If you were educated properly on the severity of what concussions do to people, do you think it would have changed the way you play the game of football?
I think it would have made me a little bit more timid, but I still think I would have played because I want to win. But I don't know if I would have just gone at somebody like as hard as I did.
That makes sense. Yeah. What about your helmet? Do you think maybe if you had a proper helmet, other than the ones that we're wearing today, do you think that your concussion would have happened at all?
I think so. I think there's only so much a helmet can do. I mean, once it gets too big, you're not going to be able to move. So you got to have some padding on there, but I don't think a new helmet's going to do anything for it.
After meeting with Derek, Judge Cruz had a lot on her mind. While Derek's obvious brain injuries were worrisome, she knew she needed to find out more information about past and present football concussion cases and settlements. So she went to work shepherdizing like a madwoman, hoping to find past cases centered around concussion. During her research of the Mike Leach v. Texas Tech case, Judge Cruz was most struck by the apparent lack of duty that Coach Leach had felt towards his own player. While the breach of contract case was one she knew had a little impact on her decision, she wanted to discover the type of duty that Coach Leach felt towards his player, and why he would allow for one of his own players to be placed inside a closet. She reached out to Coach Leach and scheduled a meeting for the next day. But little did Judge Cruz know, Coach Mike Leach was there to meet her for a very different reason.
Howdy y'all, my name is Mike Leach and I'm here to talk to Judge Cruz and tell her about my case, the one that happened in 2009 with dear old Adam James in the closet. And You know, you'll find out a little bit more about how it has no effect on me and my love and why I'm here for Judge Cruz, to show her that I'm here for her true love. Judge Cruz, I just feel like we've been trying to take our relationship to the next level, and I just have some more things I need to talk to you about. Do you have any questions for me about like the case? Because I know that's something that just causes tension in our relationship.
I just don't understand why you didn't.
Well, the thing is, I didn't feel like I had a special relationship with Mr. James like I feel like I have with you. I feel like I have a standard of care to protect you and take care of you. I didn't feel like that for Mr. James.
Isn't that your duty as a coach?
Well, you see, it's a little complicated. His dad just gave us a lot of money, and his daddy wanted him on the team. I wanted to cut him from the beginning, but I couldn't. I had to give him that gray shirt and let the boy play. And once I knew I just didn't have that special relationship with him, I let his position coaches take that standard of care, that duty that they had to do. That was on the position coaches, not me.
It sounds like you're passing blame. That makes me insecure.
But you need trust. This is what this whole thing is about. You gotta trust.
Judge Cruz left her meeting with Coach Leach even more confused about the state of concussions in football, and really confused about Coach Leach's actions towards her. She decided to disregard Coach Leach's obvious advances, and instead refocused on learning about a current concussion lawsuit that was making its way through the courts. Recently, the NFL has seen a wave of concussion lawsuits, pitting the league against former NFL players, including Hall of Fame running back Tony Dorsett.
The hardest hit to my head, wow, it reminded me of a Mack truck hitting a Volkswagen. Ray Ellis was the safety for Philadelphia, and I didn't see him. I mean, he just blew me up.
There are over 240 lawsuits by former players such as Dorsett, and the grievance is virtually the same amongst them all. They believe the NFL had a culture of denial and misinformation about the long-term effects of concussion injuries on their players. To a T, they all feel that the NFL misled them and knowingly put them in harm's way, disregarding player safety. As such, they seek to be compensated for their long-term health issues. After reading about the various lawsuits against the NFL, Judge Cruz reached out to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and scheduled a meeting so she could learn more about how the league felt about these concussion issues and what they were doing to help their players going forward.
Hi Roger, thank you for taking the time to see me today. I know you're clearly a busy, very handsome man. Did you want to discuss some things with me?
No, there's lots of stuff. Big case in front of hand.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just a drink.
Whatever your looks like you've got something ready, maybe.
Best bourbon there is.
Bourbon. On a Sunday. All right.
Cheers. Cheers.
So, what have you been working on?
No, it's a real big case we have at hand, and with the just football's so big right now, and everyone's so into football, and we can't have a bad name for the NFL. And all these concussions, and players knew what they were getting into. It's an inherent risk, how much the helmet hitting, and I think they knew there were concussions that was a possibility.
You say inherent risk. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
So football, it's a very dangerous game. It's full of collisions between 300-plus pound men. In such a game, there is an inherent risk of injury, including that to the brain. But the NFL has taken the necessary steps to educate its players and to ensure the health of our players so that there are not lifelong threats to their brains after they play. And if they were to have an injury like that in a normal game, we know how to take care of that.
The more Judge Cruz heard Commissioner Goodell speak, she got a sneaking suspicion that the league was about to make a change in how they dealt with concussion lawsuits. Then, all of a sudden...
Can you excuse me for a moment? Okay.
Oh, Yeah.
Just 30 seconds. Oh, that's great. So, Judge, I'd like to let you know that we've come to an agreement with all these NFL players, and we, as the NFL, are willing to pay them $765 million for education and research and medical after they retire from the NFL.
That's very interesting. This just happened?
They're just,
While we're...
well, I have my lawyers.
While Goodell's lawyers had authorized a $765 million settlement, many out there felt that the settlement could ultimately be thrown out by an appellate court, including Judge Cruz, who after meeting with Roger could not get the case out of her mind. She was not shocked when a little bit later in the year, she opened a link on her Facebook page and saw a news item discussing the NFL concussion settlement.
A federal judge in Philadelphia said that she's not prepared to accept the settlement that the NFL thought it had reached with its former players back in the end of August, right before the current season started. She doesn't necessarily have a quibble with the amount of money that is supposed to be paid out over the term of this agreement, about $765 million, but she says, you got to show me why this is the right figure. She says there are references in the arguments made by both sides to specific economic models, but nowhere has she seen the proof and explanations for why these are the right amounts. It might be the case that we wind up in the end with the same settlement, the same kinds of terms that they reached in August when they presented their preliminary agreement to the judge.
In July of 2014, AP writer Howard Sendritz was proven wrong, as the settlement did change based on new evidence that was provided. The new agreement, while still not holding the NFL accountable for their role in causing the injuries, did remove the $675 million cap on NFL league payouts for those suffering from post-concussion injuries and ailments. After the most recent NFL concussion lawsuit settlement was announced, Judge Cruz decided she must recuse herself from the case that Derek had brought before her. She had enjoyed her time meeting with Derek, Coach Leach, and Commissioner Goodell so much that she knew she couldn't be impartial. So she met up with all of them to let them know how fascinating this had all been, and to emphasize that concussions and football are far more serious than we portrayed them to be today.
So, Roger, thank you for taking the time to see me today. I know you're a very busy and handsome man. I appreciate your time out of your day. Perfect.
I wish that was how conversations went with men. Nice to see you. Do you want some bourbon? So Judge, does my injury worry and affect you in a future relationship?
To be honest, absolutely.
They remind me never to go. Remind me to tell you never to go to acting.
Should I?
With my hand on my leg. Yeah, how do guys like sit? Okay.
It's very comfortable and natural.
This is like what I'm supposed to do, right?
I don't know.
Like a touch? Yeah. Oh, too bad I don't have a gavel. That's what I was just thinking.
Damn it.
Do you have a masher?
I miss my old
A
guy.
mallet?
Mallet.
Oh, okay.
Gotta loosen you up out of a conversation. Whoa, that was just... Oh, man, I'm hot.
You're so ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Fridge has overpowered me. Now I feel like I need to lash out as a judge because I got so swept away by the Texas man.
That's okay. You can lash out on me. We're the one, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, as a judge, shouldn't you be asking questions?
I know. Well, I was starstruck.
Britt started with her accent and he's like, you couldn't say
I literally
anything.
couldn't say anything. And the whole time in the closet, I was trying to get words in, but I didn't know what to say.